I would like to welcome everyone to the 24th Annual Senate Memorial Day service. Everything you heard beforehand, just for your reference, that was all teeing up the budget discussions between the House and the Senate members. So if you're wondering what all that code word was, that's what it came down to, all right? I would like to warmly welcome everybody in the gallery today, as well as those special guests that we have here on the Senate floor. Today's Senate ceremony is especially dedicated to remembering those Michigan heroes and the Gold Star families who have made the ultimate sacrifice on behalf of our country. The Senate Memorial Day service was started in 1995 by former Army officer and state senator and U.S. Congressman Mike Rogers. The ceremony's activities serve to remind citizens of the sacrifices made by fellow Americans. In 2011, my former colleague, my friend, and West Point graduate, Senator John Papageorge, continued with the tradition of this great service, and I am honored to serve as the Master of Ceremony for this year. The Senate Memorial Day service is an opportunity for us in state government to show our gratitude for those who have left behind friends, family, and the comforts of home to defend the principles of our country, but who perished in their effort. Please know that it is not only those gathered here, but an entire grateful nation who will forever remember the sacrifices being honored here today. Will everyone please rise for the presentation of colors by the Michigan Army National Guard, Military Funerals Honor Color Guard, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and the singing of the National Anthem. Colored. I would now like to introduce my colleague, Senator Margaret O'Brien, Chair of the Veterans, Military Affairs, and Homeland Security Committee, to the rostrum for the purpose of leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I would now like to welcome Deb Drick, who will sing the national anthem. Mrs. Drick is a former chief of staff for former Senator Mark Jansen. Her and her husband of nearly 27 years, Jay, live in Howell, and she has 3 children, Tanya Zirkle, Corey Woodby, and Drill Sergeant Lee Woodby, as well as 8 grandchildren. Again, please welcome Deb Drick.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Deb. You knocked it out of the park as usual. Guests, you may be seated. All right, at this time, I would like to ask my colleague, Senator Vincent Gregory, a veteran of the United States Marine Corps, to come to the podium to introduce members of our military leadership.
Got your own. Good morning. At this time, I would like to recognize some guests on the floor today from the Michigan Department of Military and Veterans Affairs. I ask that they please stand when I call their name, and I ask if you would please hold your applause until we call all the names. Director and Adjutant General, Major General Gregory J. Batnays, sitting with Senator Meekhoff. Assistant Adjutant General, Major General Leonard W. Isabel, Jr., sitting with me. Assistant Adjutant General of Installations, Brigadier General Michael A. Stone, sitting with Senator Knopf. Chief of Staff, Colonel Mark E. Tillier, sitting with Senator Green. Senior Army Advisor to the National Guard, Colonel Michael Price, sitting with Senator McGregor. State Command Chief Warrant Officer 5, Gabe Abrazetti, sitting with Senator Emmons. Senior Enlisted Advisor of the Michigan Army National Guard, Command Sergeant Major Dale Claremont, sitting with Senator Marlowe. Commanding General U.S. Army Tank Automotive and Armament Command, General Master Clark LeMaster, Jr., sitting with Senator Vita. Director of Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency, Mr. Jim Redford, sitting with Senator Hildenbrand. We thank you for being here today and appreciate all you do on behalf of the Michigan Department of Military and Veterans Affairs and our veterans. Thank you. You may be seated. Each year, our fellow veteran colleagues from the House of Representatives join us in honoring our fallen heroes and their families. Unfortunately, this year, the 14 veterans from the House are unable to join us due to an earlier than normal start to session. I would like to take a moment to read the names of the veterans from the House of Representatives. Representative Albert, Representative Barrett, Representative Bison, Representative Byrd, Representative Canfield, Representative Churkin, Representative Glenn, Representative Graves, Representative Howell, Representative Johnson, Representative Jones, Representative Maturin, Representative Vipal, Representative Whitworth. We thank them for their service to our country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Gregory. Now, alongside those who have served are family members who share in their sacrifices. And those who gave their lives in defense of our freedom leave behind family members who will forever be touched by their loss. Today we have with us in the gallery some of those family members. I would ask that if you're a Gold Star family member, please stand so that we may show you our gratitude for your sacrifice. Thank you. It's now truly an honor to introduce our keynote speaker for today's service, one of Michigan's own, Congressional Medal of Honor winner, Specialist 5, James McCloughan. He's born in South Haven, and James attended Bangor High School, where he was a four-sport varsity athlete. He went on to become both a teacher and a coach in South Haven, but was drafted to serve in Vietnam a mere 3 months later at the age of 22. He stands before us today as the 2017 recipient of the Congressional Medal of Honor for his bravery as an Army combat medic. How did Jim McCloughan come to carry an aid bag and tourniquets along with firearms and bullets? The Army desperately needed combat medics, and those special people who intentionally put themselves into harm's way in order to save others. Soon-to-be Specialist 5 McCloughan was designated for advanced training as a medical specialist, even though his main qualification was his experience with sport injuries. That's what happens in times of war. Men and women as brave as Specialist 5 McCloughan distinguish themselves every day, but James showed his supreme willingness to put the welfare of his fellow soldiers above all else during 48 hours of close quarters fighting from May 13th through May 15th in 1969. Serving in Company C, 3rd Battalion, 21st Infantry of the 196th Light Infantry Brigade, Charlie Company entered into fierce battle where 2 American helicopters had been shot down. Because of the proximity of the enemy and the intensity of fire, a rescue helicopter could not be used. And with no regard for his personal safety, McCloughan ran a full 100 meters through an open field under constant attack in order to reach a survivor from the crash site. He then ran back, carrying his brother in arms the same hellish 100 meters. James' remarkable heroism was not done for the day, or even for the battle. As Charlie Company fought, he continued to alternatively eliminate the enemy while saving American lives, swapping weapons for bandages as needed. He quickly took injury himself from the shrapnel from RPG explosions. He refused orders to stay back, and as others fell around him, he would soon be the last standing combat medic on the field. For that reason and the love of his fellow soldiers, he refused to leave until all could evacuate. Now, when Charlie Company attempted to completely pull out, the enemy quickly descended upon them from three sides. McClellan, again with complete disregard for his own life, went into the crossfire numerous times throughout the battle to extract the wounded. His relentless action inspired and motivated his comrades to fight for their survival. When supplies ran low, McClellan volunteered to hold a blinking light in an open area as a marker for a nighttime resupply drop. Despite his own injuries, he remained steadfast while bullets and grenades landed all around him. In the morning of May 15th, McClellan knocked down an RPG position with a grenade and continued to fight and eliminate the enemy, all while keeping the wounded alive in preparation for their eventual withdrawal. McClellan is officially credited with saving the lives of 10 members of his company. I think anyone who hears this story realizes that the actual number was actually much, much larger. On this occasion, when we honor the sacrifices of those who have served, and we honor selfless service, and we honor the pursuit of excellence of those who have sacrificed their last measure on behalf of each of us, it is therefore a distinct privilege for me to welcome to the podium a very special son of Michigan, Congressional Medal of Honor recipient, Specialist 5, James McClellan.
Stood beside his daddy and watched the soldiers marching by. It was Memorial Day and he noticed there were tears in Daddy's eyes. Later they laid flowers beside a monument in stone. He said, "Son, my daddy went to fight and didn't make it home. But not forgotten. He was a hero, and he stood so tall, and forever will remember in honor and glory nothing but freedom had the price. We must remember those who paid it with their lives. Remember the fallen, but not forgotten, for they are the heroes, and they stood so tall, and forever will remember in honor and glory they gave their all. Fallen, but not forgotten. They are the heroes, and they stood so tall, and forever will remember in honor and glory, in honor and glory, in honor and glory. They gave their all.
My wife Cherie and I are really privileged and honored to be here to share this day with you today. I always considered my job as a combat medic a positive job in a negative situation such as war, because I was able to save lives. However, there was a flip side to my job that was very gut-wrenching. There were incidences where the wounds were so extreme that no one, including myself, could save my brothers in arms. These courageous soldiers had placed themselves between the evils of communism and their country, friends, and family back home. I held 18, 19, and 20-year-old boys in my arms and comforted them as I heard their final words and watched them take their last breath. Some called me by their mother's name. Others had a few words with their Lord and Savior. And some just passed over into heaven in silence. The memory of these brave men will never go away. They were so far from home and those they wanted to say goodbye to. Their duty to the American people separated them by thousands of miles. If you want to thank these men who paid the ultimate price for your freedom, it can be done every day, not just during Memorial Weekend and Memorial Day. All you have to do is enjoy the freedom that they've given you. Do not do anything that would interfere with the rights of others. And do not misuse or abuse your liberties. Live a life of nobility, honesty, and integrity. I don't remember all of the names of these brave men, but I can tell you I've never forgotten their faces as they looked into my eyes in those final moments of struggle for just one more second of life. Please remember that there will be empty chairs at the homes of our Gold Star families this Memorial Day, every holiday, and during every family gathering and celebration. Send a darting prayer to those who have been left behind. If there is but one ray of hope, it is our faith in a loving God who took his children from my arms into his arms as angels welcomed these soldiers into a place filled with peace and joy. I, like my fellow combat veterans and the friends and families of the fallen, cannot wait to see these heroes again someday as we all reunite in heaven. God bless you all. God bless our Gold Star families. God bless the leaders of this great state of Michigan. And on a final note, I'd gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there isn't any doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Thank you so much, Specialist 5 McLuhan. You and other veterans and active duty personnel have sacrificed so much in defense of the freedoms that we enjoy as Americans. May we never, as you reminded us, may we never take their actions for granted, especially today as we honor those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice. At this time, I would like to ask my colleague, Senator Jim Stamas, a veteran of the U.S. Army, to come up to the podium. He will specifically call out and name the fallen Michigan soldier being honored this year.
Good morning. Sometimes we overlook a fallen soldier simply because of how they answered a question upon enlisting. This year we will be honoring a true Michigan fallen soldier who was born in Southfield, lived until 10 years of age in Northville, then moved to Gaylord, where he graduated Gaylord High School, and before attending and graduating from Northern Michigan University in the Upper Peninsula. After graduation, he moved to Wisconsin for work and later enlisted in the United States Army. His parents currently live in Pellston, Michigan. His father is here with us today. He's a true Michigander, and today we honor him. I ask that everyone please stand. My colleague, Senator Schmidt, who represents the 37th District, will now place a flag in the basket to honor Army Staff Sergeant Matthew John West, 71st Explosive Ordnance Disposal Group, Fort Carson, Colorado. Died August 20th in Argadab River Valley, Afghanistan. Thank you.
Can everyone please join me for a moment of silence? Thank you. Honor Guard, please take your post around the table. present arms. Order arms. You may be seated. At this time, I would like to ask Senator David Kniezek, a veteran of the United States Marine Corps, to come up to the podium and to reflect upon the missing man table.
Semper Fi. Semper Fi. All right. To my left, your right, you will find the missing man table. The tablecloth is white, symbolic of the purity of their intentions to respond to our country's call to arms. A single red rose in the vase signifies the blood that many have shed in sacrifice to ensure the freedom of of our beloved United States of America. This rose also reminds us of the family and friends of our missing comrades who keep the faith while awaiting their return. The yellow ribbon on the vase represents the yellow ribbons worn on the lapels of thousands who demand with unyielding determination a proper accounting of our comrades who are not among us today. The slice of lemon on the bread plate represents the bitter fate of the missing. Salt sprinkled on the bread plate is symbolic of the countless fallen tears of their families as they wait. An inverted glass represents the fact that the missing and the fallen cannot partake. A lit candle, reminiscent of the light of hope, which lives in our hearts to illuminate their way home, away from their captors, into the open arms of a grateful nation. An empty chair, for they are missing and they are fallen and not present. And finally, the Bible, which reminds us the strength gained through faith to sustain those lost from our country, founded as one nation under God.
Thank you, Senator Kniezek. Now, this weekend, we will extend the solemn observance of Memorial Day beyond the confines of this Senate floor into the homes, the churches, parades, and cemeteries throughout our great state of Michigan. Through the sacrifices of those whom we honor today, most of our families, including my own, have not borne the loss of a loved one in defense of our nation. Memorial Day is a day for each of us who have been blessed through these sacrifices to dedicate some small measure of our time to honor our fallen heroes. There is no greater love than to lay one's life down on behalf of a friend. Whether we know them personally or not, our freedom is a tribute to many such friends throughout the history of this great nation. We thank God for such friends, and we humbly ask that we honor their sacrifices through the lives that we lead. Thank you all for attending. Will everyone please rise? I would like to ask the color guard, please retire the colors.